Well, look, we all have insecurities. Everyone does. And most of us have some feeling in some arenas that we're not quite good enough. And so just by the very fact that you take a career in art, 80% of the world thinks you're an idiot. It's the old, well, you better get a degree as a teacher when that doesn't work out kind of thing. So it's not surprising to me that people come into this profession with a little bit of fear about, stepping up and doing things different. In your world, what's good and bad there's a lot of subjectivity to it. So it's not like addition or subtraction or accounting. The accountant either added the numbers right or they didn't. In your world, what's good and bad within, certain parameters is pretty subjective. So the standards aren't always clear. Like, what is a good job of graphic design and what is a bad? I think we know what an unacceptable job is, and we know what a wonderful job is, but all those gradients in between, I don't think they're very clear. I think that's one reason why people that are in the art world, in the world that you live in, tend to be not great risk takers sometimes. And I agree with you. We know from our experience that the great artists here are the big risk takers. They have the confidence, to try. And I think the other important thing is if you're not willing to get fired, then you're probably not going to get what you want. You have to be willing to take risks. You have to be willing to politely speak your truth to the people that are above you. You have to be willing to do that. And sometimes, guess what? You're going to get fired. It's just life. If you can't accept that, then you're going to be locking yourself in a little safe box that's going to keep you relatively safe, but you're going to be very frustrated because you're not going to get what you want out of your career or your life. Yeah, what I ask them is I try to say, okay, let's look at what's the worst case scenario. I mean, what is the worst thing that could happen? Let's say that you're right and I'm wrong. And when you really start writing down or thinking about the worst case scenario, what's scary is the unknown. Fear is general. If you're specifically, afraid of a rattlesnake, I get it. But this fear about failing usually is far overblown in people's minds. Like, here's a young man, he has family in Tennessee or Texas, I'm not sure if they're in Texas or Tennessee at this point, that care about him. He's going to have a place to stay. He has debt from his education, so he defaults on it. What are they going to do, put him in debtor's prison? I mean, what's the worst that can happen to him? Really, when you think about it, not much. The biggest fear people have is letting down or looking foolish or looking unsuccessful to the people that they're counting on to give them support. But if the people are really your friends and they really love you and they really care about you, they're going to be happy you're going down the right road. And if they're not, and even if they are your family, you just have to nod and thank them and go on your own. And that's a hard road to go. A lot of people, not just creatives, think of athletes who retire and then their entire lives fall apart. Think about businessmen who are successful and then lose their job at 55 and, become complete wrecks. There's to identify yourself with what you do is a terrible mistake. It's a terrible mistake. You are a person and you are not what you do. You are you. And a lot of people avoid looking at that by identifying with their work. I'm an animator. I'm a business consultant. I'm a tight end for the Chargers. And when that goes away, to make it clear, Chris, that all comes from the outside. If who you are doesn't come from the inside, you're going to have a problem because in the end, the only person that can make you feel okay is you. And if you're relying on prestige or status or your job title or what you do to get the prestige, for most of us, eventually our talents lessen or the world changes and, we don't have that anymore. It has to come from within.